Heyo and welcome back, gamers. In today's video, I'm pretty sure we found the most busted farm in Wonderlands. And I'm not saying that to over-exaggerate it. I'm bringing back a series I started in Borderlands 3 where I farm every boss 100 different times to take down their dedicateds, their dedicated dropper rates, chaotics for this game, volatiles, enchantments, all the good stuff when it comes to farming that you want to know, particularly with the new, interesting to say the least, loot luck system. I've got you sorted in this series. I got recommended this boss from my comment section a few times because they said it was completely busted, and they weren't wrong. This man's drops way too many dedicateds in terms of individual items, and then way too many of those dedicateds, and then a ton of world drops on top of that. If you guys would like to try out this farm, first you have to go to Tangle Drift. If you haven't unlocked Tangle Drift, first go to the overworld, pick up the mission for Tangle Drift from a little bean guy that's chilling in the Walk to the Shallows area. That'll get you into the map. You will have to progress about 5-10 minutes maximum in the side story that is the Tangle Drift map. It's with Brick, don't worry, it's a pretty good time. Get about halfway through, and when you're kind of at like the main area with the vending machines there, go to the left. Again, I'll show it on screen. There'll be a side mission there called Small Favor. Pick that up and complete it in its entirety. Pretty cool side mission. And at the very end, you'll find Kastor, the boss himself. Skeleton dude with a bunch of different attacks. Pretty dope boss fight, to be honest. And this guy drops legendaries like it's nothing. Now, a huge thing to note for this series and generally farming in Wonderlands is you want your loot luck number to be as high as physically possible. I have 48,000 for all of the videos as a base comparison, which is pretty high. And I went through in detail in the first 2 episodes how to get that much loot luck. I'm not going to go through it in every video because like that would take a lot of time of mine and yours. But if you want to check out how to get that much loot luck, check out the Zomboss or the Chance video. I'll link it down below or at the end of the video. You can check it out after this one. But trust me, you want as much loot luck as possible. You get way more legendaries. Now, when you farm this guy or any boss in the game currently in Wonderlands, the loot luck number is bugged when you log into the game, showing way less than what you're supposed to have, and it won't fix until you travel somewhere else. So rather than logging out and then logging back in and just farming like you usually do in Borderlands, instead, rather than logging out, just travel to Brighthoof. Once you get there, turn around, go back through the portal directly behind you, and it'll drop you back off at the new station or the fast travel station closest to where you just came from, being literally the boss farm you were just at. Regardless of boss, they will then also respawn, and you can just farm them like that. Rather than logging out, you're just traveling to Brighthoof and then back again. It's pretty much the same thing, but it won't break your loot luck number, and you'll get more legendaries. And now that you have all the info for farming the guy, let's jump into the actual numbers, because this guy is bonkers. Usually most bosses have 1 to 2 dedicateds. Some have 3 to 4 in worst case scenarios. Usually if it's 4, it's a grim time because how the game works. There's a percentage of dedicated drop rates, and the game will go, all right, we're dropping a dedicated this time, and it'll randomly roll between the loot pool the boss has. And if it's 4, that fixed-ish dedicated drop rate is split between 4 items, and if you're trying to get one of them, it can be a tough time. Now, out of 100 farms, I got a legendary item more than at least 4 times, insinuating that it's a dedicated, for 8 different legendary weapons, which is ridiculously high. I don't know if it's real. I'm really confused, and genuinely, I wasn't kidding. This boss is busted. Now, some of you are probably like, surely some of those are world drops. There's no shot they put 8 dedicateds on the same boss in the game. That would make no sense. Surely you just got so many legendaries that they started stacking up and some seem like dedicateds, right? I was hoping that was the situation, but I only got 107 legendaries total, world drops and dedicateds included, which, to be fair, is a lot of legendaries out of 100 farms. Like I said, the guy is busted. But Lechance dropped 67 total, which extra 50, that's a lot, but that is not enough to make up for 8 fake dedicateds. Best case scenario, I just randomly lucked out and got crazy RNG, and 2 of the legendaries that are supposed to be in the world drop system dropped 4 times, way more than anything else. That still leaves 6 legendaries that I got more than 5 times out of 100 runs. So yeah, I don't really know what's going on, but either way, the guy's busted, and let's go through the dedicateds that I think are the dedicateds. Starting off the Paradigm class mod, it's actually one of 2 dedicated class mods to this farm, and they're not the ones that I'm in question at all. They're definitely the dedicateds, and they drop like crazy, which is really good because getting the perfect class mod role that you want is very difficult in this game, and a busted farm that drops them like crazy is gonna definitely make it a whole lot easier. This one increases your ability damage and spell damage by half the amount that your melee damage is increased, which I assume means all of your melee damage buffs in your skill tree, as well as any passives on any of your items, including the class mod itself, which is kind of nutty for a lot of different builds. The second dedicated is actually the one I'm most excited about. It's the Amalgam. I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. My favorite class mod in the game right now. It can roll with 5 different passives, which makes it really difficult to farm. Again, meaning it's fantastic this is the dedicated drop. But you can have 5 different passives. Increase gun damage, movement speed, max health, area damage, spell crit hit chance, all in the same one. And you could get way better rolls than that. That's not even a chaotic or a volatile. Like, you get so much better, and that's already an insane class mod. Up next, we have the crossbolt generator. Personally, not a huge fan of this weapon. It just doesn't seem to really put out that much damage. I do like Jacob's ARs usually, but it's kind of a little bit eh. Its extra passive ability, crossbolts deal 4% increased damage for each crossbolt stuck in the target. Bolts last 6 seconds, so if you lay into the same enemy a whole bunch, you'll increase your damage over time. So pretty good for bosses as well, but again, I think it just kind of needs a buff, or I'm missing something. Next, we actually have a dope amulet slash necklace. The Raging the Urge of strategy, I don't know how to pronounce the Urge as one word, but that thing has a pretty cool ability. Whenever you cast a spell, reduce your action skill cooldown by 20%, but while your action skill is cooling down, spell damage is increased by 30%, just from an amulet, not as a passive. Like, that's just the amulet's ability, which is fantastic for literally anyone that uses spells, particularly somebody that has an action skill that you immediately use rather than having a duration, because you're pretty much just always getting that spell damage buff. I even managed to get a volatile with all damage dealt and action skill cooldown rate on the passives. We also have the Arcane Bolt, which is a 3 projectile spell that shoots pretty accurately, like all very close to each other. Also, if you hit a critical hit with it, some of your spell cooldown is refunded as well, which is pretty awesome. You can shoot more often. Also does a decent amount of damage. I personally haven't got too much into spells yet because I haven't made my spell shot character, but I'm sure you guys will let me know if it's good or not. Another spell that drops is the Reviver. If you play co-op pretty frequently, if you shoot your allies with it, it actually heals them, or if they're down, you can actually revive them just by shooting them with a spell, which is pretty cool. Next, we have the Rune Shield, which has so many prefixes and suffixes, and its gimmick essentially is it gives you unique rune abilities, and they're shared across all players that are currently equipping a Rune Shield. So if you have 4 people in your game right now that have 4 rune shields on, you get all of the abilities from all the shields that everybody's wearing, and they can be completely random things. Like these 2 shields, hugely different capacities. Increased companion damage on the left. On the right hand side, if you're standing still, you get increased lightning damage, and your ward regeneration delay is 0 seconds. If you stand still, instantly starts regenerating, which is kind of awesome. And I also have another one in here. If you kill an enemy, it restores some of your maximum health, and you also deal bonus 20% fire damage for a short duration. And the final one is the Buffmeister, which is the one I'm most skeptical of calling a dedicated, because literally in previous videos I said it only drops in the world drop system because other community members had tested it and said that it only drops in the world drop system. But I got 4 in 100 runs, which even if it's not a dedicated, that's a lot of world drops. So I would recommend coming here for Buffmeisters, whether it is a dedicated or not. For comparison, in the last 2 videos where I farmed Lachance 100 times and Zomboss 200 times, I didn't get a single Buffmeister. And I got 4 out of 100 runs from this guy. So either way, I'm coming here for Buffmeisters. The distribution of those dedicateds is probably what's most interesting. So after 100 farms, Chaos 20, 48,000 loot luck of Kastor, I got 18 paradigms, which is almost 1 in 5 farms I'm getting the same legendary class mod, let alone everything else also dropping at the same time. It's kind of nutty. We also got 9 crossbolts, 7 amalgam class mods. I keep forgetting how to pronounce that, but that's the really good one, 5 different passives. We also got 5 rune shields, 5 the Urge amulets, 5 reviver spells. We got 4 Buffmeisters, and we also got 4 arcane bolts. So like I said earlier, best case scenario, the Buffmeister and the arcane bolt aren't a dedicated, and I got a ridiculous amount of just those 2 world drops, then they aren't dedicated. But for comparison, the Zomboss farm, I literally only got 4 undead pack shields after 100 farms, and that is 100% the dedicated. So it's really weird if they're not dedicated. Granted, it is probably more weird if they are dedicated, because having 8 dedicated just blows my mind. As for the distribution of world drops, we got 50 legendary world drops out of the 100 farms, 14 of which were melee weapons, 13 of which were class mods. That's not including the 2 that are dedicated. So you're getting a lot of class mods from this farm just in general. 10 of those were guns, 6 of those were spells, 3 necklaces slash amulets, and then 2 rings and 2 wards. So again, the rings and the necklaces slash amulets always seem to be at the bottom of the list when it comes to world drops. I don't really know why, maybe because there's less of them, but there doesn't seem to be that much less of them. But for the other 2 videos, spells were always at the top, and currently melee weapons are way out in front with class mods. So again, if you want really good class mods, come here. As for the chaotic slash volatile drop rates, if you didn't know, go chaos menu, then scroll down in stats. There's supposed to be a set rate. Chaotic gear drop chance is supposed to be about 28%, and volatile drop chance is supposed to be extremely low at 1.4%. But from my testing so far, it's all over the place. This time, out of the 107 legendaries that we got, 57 of them were dedicated, 50 of them were world drops, and we got 25 chaotics, 12 of which were dedicated, so actually a pretty even split. Last time it was horrible. We got 25 chaotics and 5 of them were on the dedicateds. In saying that, it was a more even split, but it does mean we got 25 chaotics both when we only got 67 legendaries at Lechance and when we got 107 legendaries at Kastor. We did, however, get about double the enchantments, 31 enchanted items this time versus 15 at Lechance. And for volatiles, we actually managed to get more as well. We've only had 1 volatile per video so far, and I actually managed to get 3 volatiles out of the 107 legendaries, which is pretty insane because not only is that like 3x the drop rate it's supposed to be at 1%, we actually managed to get one on the dedicated, being the amulet that I showed you guys earlier, and I also got one on a world drop melee weapon and also a spell. But that is the loot from 100 runs of probably the most busted farm in Wonderlands right now. If you guys enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe on the way out. We also have a second channel for Minecraft content. I also have a Twitch channel that I stream to pretty much every night just after I post my videos. Both of those are linked down below. I'll also have linked right here the video, the previous episode that explained how to get 48,000 loot luck. Trust me, it is well worth it. And other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Till then, adios.